Hey everybody, I'm Richard. I guess you could say co-host or co-own. Not that we really own it. Knights of the Rail with Jim. He started it. I just came in and took over some of the responsibilities with him. We're here doing the Everyone Games event because everyone does game, and a lot of people with disabilities do get excluded. And if you're paying attention to the stream and watching, you will come to know this over, the next day and a half or so. But today, we're going to do this panel here where it's community and gaming. And Jim picked me to do this because, as he said, I like to talk and I'm a people person. So I'm not really sure if this is going to be a solo panel or not because, as one of our panel members will tell you, I don't know when to shut up every once in a while. But we're going to go around here and introduce ourselves. And I think we have Chris in here with us, who has done a lot for the event, to tell us how much we have raised so far in donations and all. Chris, do we have you in here?
I do not believe we have Chris in here.
Okay, he had told me he was going to come in here. I believe he said over $3,000 with the video game streaming as well.
Yeah,
could be awful. Yeah. Okay. You will hear my good friend here. I consider him a good friend. He may not consider me a friend at all, but Phil, introduce yourself.
Sure, absolutely. All right, so I go by mostly Blind Gamer. I've been playing tabletop RPGs for a little while now, and well, it's really all thanks to the Knights of the Braille, to Jim, to Richard, of course, because well, being visually impaired, a lot of my life has, let's call it friction, right? A lot of things are harder you'd want them to be or otherwise expect them to be. So sometimes when you accumulate different kinds of friction, things get a little too much to deal with. And frankly, getting into tabletop RPGs felt like that a little bit, because, well, a lot of game systems are very complicated or seem very complicated when you first get into them. And at the same time, if you want to get to a table full of people you don't know, you don't want to be asking all the seemingly stupid questions, and then also piling on the stress of going like, hey, okay, but listen, I can't see the map properly. Can we move it in my direction? Okay, can we get some more light in here? Yeah, sorry, I did not manage to get through my character creation because the thing everybody was trying to use was inaccessible to me. So this kind of hobby that is great for all its community aspects, because it, by definition, almost joins people together. Really, I've realized that it takes more communities, and communities like what we have around here, to get more people into it, to give more people the opportunity to enjoy it.
Exactly. We'll as I'm looking at the screen, seeing that I'm straight up 100% blind, we'll go with Dnd Marie.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dnd Marie AUC. The AUC stands for Albinism Up Close. So basically, that is just a project I started to be a hub for resources, as well as articles that I write myself about albinism, which is a condition I have that causes my blindness. I am legally blind. And I've been a content creator for probably a couple years when it comes to the website and writing, but I started YouTube last year, and this year in May, I started Twitch. So I have been game streaming, and for me, with gaming and community, it's just something I grew up doing. I grew up sitting on the couch. Well, my brother sat on the couch and I sat directly in front of the TV, and we had such a good time. I never felt like I didn't belong there, and they didn't really complain too much about my head being in the way, which is just pretty great. We had our moments, but it always felt like something that brought friends together and family together. So for me, being able to take that and translate it into what we're all doing now is just it's a little bit like a dream come true. So I'm so excited.
Exactly, and that's what community is about. And I'm sorry, I got usernames here in front of me. Fenway.
Hi everyone, I am Fenway Jones, also known as Fenway the Teen DM on Twitter and at Jasper's Game Day on all of the social media. I work with Jasper's Game Day to raise money for suicide prevention and awareness. I started it 4 years ago because I wanted to be able to help people who were in situations that were similar to my own, because I had just lost a few friends to suicide, and who were also dealing with suicidal ideations. So, and I thought gaming was a great way to do so, as it had been something I was doing for a few years.
Excellent. And Liam.
Hi there.
Hi, how you doing?
I don't really live in with dolphins, by the way. I'm just using it as my background. So I am Liam Irvin. I have been totally blind since birth. Completely, utterly blind. I can't see lights or anything. I am, when people ask me, I tell them I'm 157.5% blind. And so I have been playing games since I was 4. I've been into video games for a very long time. I have been creating audio games for the blind since 2002. I have been streaming on the internet radio type stuff since 2000. It's sort of kind of metamorphosed into doing online game streaming. I stream on YouTube. I occasionally stream on Twitch, but YouTube is kind of my platform of choice. And I've sort of created a community around other blind people that are interested in gaming. Try to have a very friendly, open community. Always want people to come and hang out and have fun and learn a lot and play some games.
What we're saying is we all think that gaming is pretty important to each of us individually and to the community. We all said that in our introduction. But a question I want to ask y'all is, we're obviously all here because of the accessibility concerns, but how would you say that how important would you say that community has become over the past 20 years, but more so over the past year and a half since the pandemic has started?
I don't know if there's a lot of, I want to say there's no change. I would say that people have had a lot more time and have had much more of a need to have social interaction. I know that I have not gone out very much, and I think I can speak for most everyone here, is we've had sort of kind of been in a situation where we are all shut in and are really needing social companionship. So I think a lot of us have turned to the internet and are doing that a lot more. And it's been fun. Streaming is a lot of fun. Playing games is fun. Trying to have a cool, fun, upbeat, cheery personality and make people laugh, make people think, and all that stuff. And it's good times.
I agree. Anybody else want to put in on that?
So I actually think that probably a significant thing that happened, with the pandemic, lockdowns, people being at home. Just if you look at stats, people bought more computers, people bought more consoles, people bought more video games, and other forms of entertainment. Netflix and things like that sort of went through the roof. There's no getting around it. Humans we're a social species, right? We're
oh yeah.
So we're we're soft and squishy. We don't have claws. We don't have fur, right? We depend on each other. So by default, it's hard for humans to just be without being around each other and being with each other. And we ended up finding different ways to interact a lot in this time. And a lot of things went remote. A lot of things went virtual and online. I feel like that made a lot of social experiences more accessible to lots of different people, to people who don't have a chance to travel to a convention they would like to be at, right? To people who, for whatever reason, including disability, don't really get out much, right? Things being online had a huge impact on these things. Of course, that's not what we want, right? Nobody, in general, we would like to all experience these events and everything together in a way that is more comfortable for everybody, right? More accommodating to different needs. But yeah, I feel like it's opened up some opportunities. I mean, I know I ended up playing TTRPGs because so much stuff went online, right?
Yeah, and I do a good Star Wars 5e. I understand.
That is correct. That is correct.
And you do a wonderful little
Ewok.
Ewok.
Spot. Did we miss Marcella?
Ewok noises.
We did.
Did we? I'm sorry, I did not see that name.
It's okay.
I did not see that name. Phil was supposed to keep a check on me. He gets fired. Phil, you're fired.
I will turn in my I'll turn in my badge and gun.
Do I get his paycheck?
Yes. I will sign it. It's all zeros. So, again, my apologies. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Marcella. Everybody calls me Mouse. I'm also legally blind. The difference with me is I was fully sighted until I was about 24. And then I slowly started to lose my vision, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And then at about 4 years in, they decided to finally send me to an ophthalmologist, at which point they told me I have a very rare genetic condition called Stargardt Disease, which basically means that I have a blind spot in my center vision that developed over time. And it kind of looks like, you know, when you get your picture taken with a flash for all the sighted people out there and you see that, you know, kind of bright spot in the center. I kind of see that all the time. But it can vary depending on the day and my fatigue level and all kinds of things. So I've been gaming since I was probably 3 or 4. Actually, my parents tell me my first sentence was "Daddy, make cartoons," which was me wanting my dad to play Mario on the NES. So I go way back with gaming, but I never really, it was always just something I enjoyed. It wasn't really something that I got to play with friends. And then when I started to lose my vision, I became disabled and I moved rural and became, you know, someone who was stuck at home all the time, especially during the pandemic. I started really reaching for that as a way to get that sort of sense of community and make friends that I didn't have in my real life anymore. And so for me, through this whole pandemic, getting to actually game with people has been such a saving grace on my mental health. And then I started streaming after that because I was like, well, I'm home alone. I might as well, you know, I'm bored. And I've been streaming for, I think, around 4 months now. And the sense of community I've gotten from that as well has just been amazing for my mental health. Those two things combined, getting to play video games and getting to play with my friends. We play stuff over on Danny's channel. Sometimes I have Halo night with my friends on Thursday nights. It's just all of these things combined have been so paramount for my mental health. And I think being disabled and having that sense of community with your friends, you can be friends with anyone all over the world and you can still hang out and have a good time together. And I think that is so freaking awesome.
You know, and it's like I told y'all before we started, I was going to screw up before the night was over. And I did. I'll get fired after this, Liam.
That's why you guys keep me around to check everything.
But
we're better together, aren't we? That's the whole point.
I would say
100%.
so. I would say
Work makes
so.
the dream work.
Yes.
And I told y'all that I wanted this panel to be like we was all sitting around a coffee table in a coffee shop, and that's what I want it to be like. Because the way I look at community is you become friends and then you become family. We're more than just a community. We're more than just friends. We're there for each other. If somebody's going through something, we're there to talk to them or to listen if they need to vent, if they're going through something and need to talk about it. I mean, that's what, family, friends, and community is to me. What do y'all think about that?
I agree 100%. It's been a rough couple of years for all of us, I think. But I had a lot of big changes go on last year for me specifically, and so getting into this journey of streaming, meeting people like Marcella, starting our community, and just meeting all kinds of different people who are interested in the same things we're interested in or not, and just we still come together. And it feels like exactly what you said. It's community, it's friends, and then it becomes something closer. And it's kind of magical because it really does lift you up, because you could be having the worst day and then you go spend some time with your community, or you stream and you talk to your whoever pops into chat for you, and it's really uplifting. It's great. It's a gift.
It's better than caffeine.
Yes.
That's hard to say, I know it's sacrilegious for all of us coffee drinkers out there. And again, I do want to apologize for my accent. I'm really trying to concentrate with each word that I say. But anybody else want to talk about how you feel about community and, it being a family or friendship?
I would agree with that. Actually, I would say that that's a very accurate statement. I think that when you have a community, you build friendships, and you kind of have to, and you build sort of a family. I wouldn't really say that my community is like my family per se, but I do, like, my community does look out for me. We did a thing last week where I streamed for 24 hours over 2 days to kind of help offset the cost of a possible move down the road and to kind of help pay for equipment and stuff. And at one point during the stream, I had attempted to drink hot sauce directly and actually had gotten very sick. And, everyone kind of stepped in and was like, hey, are you okay? Is everything good? Like, I had to leave early, and everybody was very supportive, and it's just a good feeling, but it's also a good feeling to know that you are giving back to these people and are doing something that they enjoy. And that I had people stay up for the whole 2 days. They would show up in the morning, stay till the evening, then the next day show up in the morning, stay till the evening. So the dedication of people that enjoy what I do is really touching and special to me.
Agreed. I've met one of my best friends out here from Knights of the Brill, and never would have dreamed it, and I met you and Danny, last week, and we have that memory of the spoons. That's something that I think will
the
stick.
spoons.
But
So good.
that's not something that you would have thought of 6 months ago.
Nope.
And
No, for sure. The spoons thing, the 20-second thing was, we were playing our first, me and Danny, Danny and I, sorry, we're playing our first D&D campaign, and we were having, I think, horrible dice rolls all over the place.
Oh,
and
yes.
it was just, it was awful. So in our final boss, we were fighting a changeling, and I don't think anything was going well. And I'm like, you know what? I can cast catapult. I said, is there anything in the room? And he goes, yeah, there's dishes and spoons. So I killed a changeling by catapulting spoons. And I will, I think, ever be known as Spoon Man.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Mouse and Fenway, how do y'all feel about family and community and friends and things like that?
For me, it's been everything. All of my best friends I've met through pretty much Twitch at this point, or gaming in general. Danny and I met on her first ever Twitch stream. And we were talking about her starting her stream, and I was like, yeah, I've always wanted to stream, but I've never had the balls to do it. And she was like, no, you should do it. And she's the one that actually pushed me to start in the first place. We'd never met. We, followed each other on Twitter, but had never had a conversation. And she was the one that pushed me to do it. And I'm forever grateful to her for that. And she has genuinely become one of my best friends. We talk every single day. We work on our Discord stuff together over voice chat, but also sit and chat and, catch up with each other's lives. And I have so many friends that I've made through other Twitch pages and streamers. And I mean, like I said, I do this Halo Night thing every Thursday with like 15 other people, and I met all those people through a Twitch channel. And it's just been so incredible to, especially during the pandemic, be able to meet other people, especially in the disability community, who know what you're going through. We're all isolated, we're all miserable, and just be able to come together and find those moments of happiness, even if it's just for an hour, 2 hours, where we play something together and hang out. We all kind of forget about the world and everything that's going on, and we just sit and have a blast. And for me, that's been incredible. And my Twitch community has been a big part of that as well. They're all absolutely wonderful and kind, and I try to bring them as much joy and kindness every day as I can. Truthfully, it's a lot of ADHD chaos, but I try to bring them cozy vibes as much as possible. And they're all wonderful as well. So for me, it's everything.
See, with me, people were happy to stay more than 6 feet away from me. So, I mean, I didn't get it.
Me too. But, I feel that.
What about you, Fenway? How do you feel about the community and family? And
well, so I actually gave a speech on that kind of sort of subject a couple of years ago. But so for Jasper's Game Day, we actually call our Discord the Jasper's Game Day family. And so it's we try and keep it very, two different things, family friendly and, a community in which you can feel safe. And I think that's two of the most important things about community, is the idea that you can bond with people and be able to feel safe and not like you have to hide yourself. Obviously there are some instances in which that is different for some people, but we like to try and make sure that everyone and anyone is accepted, and we don't exclude anyone, and that everyone is able to feel safe. And I think that's a very important part of both community and family. And family friendly is in the name, but we keep our stuff, streams and those sorts of things, PG-13, so that all of our audiences are able to watch them.
Excellent. I don't know about anybody else, but y'all notice how they said exclude anybody? I kind of got the feeling that I was kind of getting pointed at. Just picking.
It's actually really interesting that you brought up PG-13, because actually that's been one thing that's been very important for me. Has been, and people that know me actually in real life know that I curse like a sailor a lot. But it actually has been something that's very important for me to have a very welcoming community. And so one of the things that I'm really big on is, hey, listen, when I'm on stream, no profanity. I mean, listen, it's going to happen, but we try to keep it minimum or not at all. I ask people in chat to, not curse, to keep it clean, because you don't know with a community who's going to be there. And yeah, you want people to be welcome and you want them to feel included. And so some people are very offended by that. Some people are younger. They don't need to hear that. Some people are older. They don't want to hear it. So yeah, I would say actually, it was actually funny you mentioned the PG-13 thing, because I was thinking about that. I'm like, that I think is a really important thing to kind of bring up, is that, we find ways to make sure that everyone's included. And I think in a community, especially if you're dealing with a disability, so people in my community are mostly totally blind or almost totally blind, it's very important for them to feel included, because I think they've been excluded from a lot of things in life.
I would agree with that. And, y'all were talking about making a bond, and to bring Phil back into it, I would say that, Phil and I have become friends, and I would say that we have a coffee bond. And, it can be 3:00 in the morning. He'll say, hey, have you tried this recipe with, putting cinnamon or, no, what was it? Salt and lemon juice or something like that in your coffee. I thought that's disgusting.
Yeah.
So I tried it, and it was delicious. But
yeah, the salt beats the sourness.
but you'd be surprised, like the bonds that you make with people. But I do want to ask each of us. I'm going to try to get this cut this a little short here. So we can hopefully get back on track with the schedule. I have a big question. What is one game that each of you remember most? You can give me a game. You can give me a scene in the game if you want. Something along those lines that you remember, whether from childhood or from last week. And let's start with Fenway.
Sure, yeah. Well, so mine's actually from last week, but it really demonstrates a good connection. I was playing a game over on Blackwater D&D. It is a Twitch channel. If anyone is familiar with it, I'm good friends with some of the main streamers, and we were playing a game called DM Roulette, and basically every X amount of time the DM switches. So if you go around the table and each person gets a chance to DM, and you pick up exactly where the last person left off. And it's really like a improv type situation, but you have to be able to understand and respect everyone's boundaries and lines and veils to be able to know what content to put into the game. And the whole game was just wild and chaotic, but it was respectful and fun at the same time, and it was a blast and a half. I was up till 2 a.m. and I would not change it for the world.
I'm usually up at 2 a.m. as, like I said, Phil can attest to. Miles, how about you?
I actually have a quick story about last night because I think it's a great example of teamwork and community. Last night was coincidentally my Halo night with my friends, and we conjured up this game where everybody got to win once. So that meant if it was first to 25 kills, if you had already won previously the night and you made it to 24, you're no longer allowed to kill anybody, but you are allowed to run around and avoid being killed. And we ended up turning it into a team situation where there was only a few of us left who hadn't, won a game that night, and I was one of them. So those people who had not yet won were team captains. And so I got team captain. So the way it went was, then it was the first team to 50 kills. And if your team gets to 49, your team captain has to be the one to make the final kill in order for it to count. So my team is the first one to 49. I've got 3 other people on my team, and I have to make the game winning kill. And I'm in the middle of this chaotic firefight with like 4 other people. I don't know how I survived, but somehow I made the game winning kill, and everybody on the mic just goes crazy. You're like, yeah, and everybody's cheering and excited. And it was just this really fun moment of everybody just being excited and happy, and all of us working together to try and make this one common goal happen so that everybody could feel like they got to win. Because there are a couple people that are genuinely really good at the game that typically always win, and we all have a great time, but it was a fun way to switch it up so that everybody got to at least have one win of the night and got to have that nice feeling of being the one to save the game. So it was great.
I like that. That's really good. To turn around and let everybody have a chance to feel that. And that is a good feeling. Let's see. Let's go with Danny here. What about you?
I had trouble thinking of this one, but it always came back to my family. A couple years ago when I got a Switch for Christmas, we had a very chaotic game of Mario Kart, and it was just a whole bunch of grown adults just like sitting in a little room together, crowded in front of the TV, just screaming at each other. Just like, it was so much fun. Like, I don't know. It brought me back to the days when we did play couch co-op, like I mentioned earlier. And I think that moment just lives in my head, and I'm like, it's just how I think how I enjoyed a lot of my time growing up, and it's just a good memory for me. It makes me smile.
And that's what it's about, having fun and the fond memories, Liam, what about you?
It's so hard to pick. I mean, like a particular game. I think one of the things that I've enjoyed has been able to play the Jackbox games with viewers and stuff. because there are mechanisms in there that have made the games more accessible for blind players. So we've been able to kind of take blind players, sighted players, whatever, partially blind, partially sighted. We can all play together, and that's been a lot of fun. But it's really hard to pick out one thing. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I like games. I can talk about games for hours. You know.
Right. I figured you was going to say Super Liam or, something like that.
I mean, it has. So I mentioned this in a panel earlier.
You are tormented, Liam. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I had created a game. It was the first ever audio platformer for the blind, and it's called Super Liam because apparently I had to make a game based on my own name. But to be fair to me, I wanted to make it since I was like 7. So listen, it was a dream. I fulfilled it. I won. I win the game. So a friend of mine, he's got a kid who's maybe like 5 or 6, and his kid's having a birthday, and he says, hey, can the main character from the game call my kid for his birthday? He listens to me play these games, and it's kind of a bonding thing for us. I can't play the games he can play, but he likes to listen to me play games. So the Super Liam character from the game actually called his son for his birthday and wished him happy birthday and talked to him for a few minutes. And apparently that's something he's always remembered. And so sometimes we talk about communities reaching out, but it's amazing how a game can actually reach out and touch somebody like that. I mean, I made that kid's week just by, being something that he could recognize, and it was really touching, and it made me realize how vast and amazing gaming really is, and how you can really touch people's lives with it.
Oh yeah, how gaming can touch people in totally different ways than what you expect. And what about you, Phil? I got an idea of what you may say, but I hope it's not the scene from SW5E.
Oh, I mean, you're asking for memorable game moments, and that's the one that's on top of my head. Get ready. Do you have your box of tissues or something? So first, let me just touch on what Liam said. That is the most touching story I've heard in a long time. But also even just the start of it, how a game like that can be such an important way for a family to bond, right? That's just fantastic. So yeah, it starts incredible. It just gets better. So Richard ran a Star Wars 5e campaign, which is basically Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, but in the Star Wars universe. It's a lot of fun. And I was in it, and so he introduced love interests for all of the party's characters one at a time, and in a very fun way. I played that into my character's background, where it helped him get through some some past trauma and kind of connect to his lost roots and what have you. And we were building a good character arc there. And suddenly they were the big baddie got them, and they were gone, and that was the end of a session. And I mean, the whole party, we were just oh no, now what? And we started the next session with that, and then it turned out that they had actually it was actually a trick, force powers in this context, by the big baddie, and turns out they were actually all okay. I mean, the emotional roller coaster, role-playing the emotional roller coaster, but also the whole group having played together for a few months and getting into the characters and getting into these story arcs and everything. It just goes to show how how a silly game, a silly role playing game, can actually end up meaning a lot to people. So yeah, that's the memorable gaming moment
That's
And
I
amazing.
have.
let me quote Phil because I remember this quote from him.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't know what I'm going to do now. I have no idea. End quote.
Was that my character or was that me? I don't
No,
know.
that was Phil. That was not Mudu. It was
No?
Phil. I have no idea what
Right.
I'm going to do with Mudu now.
Yeah. Like I said, there was an incredible story arc, and it was this crazy roller coaster. And these things end up, you get hooked to these things, right?
Oh yes. Would y'all like to hear mine? It came as a DM.
Yes, please.
Let me set the scene for you. It was played in the world of Barovia, or the realm of Barovia. Lots of fog, and there's these 3 night hags. They are creating dream pastries, which, to put it in modern day terms, get people addicted, gives them dreams that they get addicted to, gets them out of the world that they are in. They're in a world where they basically have no lives, no souls, no hope. And they are doing this in a windmill. And keep in mind, in the real world that we are in, this whole scene is legendary in Knights of the Braille now. The adventurers, an elf, a wild magic shifter, a dwarf, and I believe a half elf, walk up to the windmill. And as I described the windmill to them, it is leaning heavily on one side, barely standing there. There's a very beautiful looking woman standing on the porch that has boards that are rotten, decaying, falling apart. The porch is falling in, the roof is falling in, the windmill is leaning precariously to the right. And 2 of them, the elf and the dwarf, decide that they want to go in and follow the beautiful woman. The other 2 decided they would stay outside in case something happened. They also have an NPC here. His name is Periwinkle. He had an intelligence of 3. I rolled for him. He had an intelligence of 3. And he was a big old strong joker. Anyway, they went inside, didn't come out for a good while. Well, it turns out that they didn't realize they were fixing to eat a dream pastry. They ate it. They passed out. They failed their constitution. Still didn't come out. Sylmestra and Kelton on the outside said, well, we got to get them out. Keep in mind, there's a door leading inside this windmill. They decide to acid splash part of this windmill and then get the big, strong Periwinkle to help Kelton push the windmill. They never tried to open the door to the windmill. The windmill falls down, kills the 3 hags, kills the 2 innocents, and kills their 2 party members inside. That has been the funniest moment, and it should not be, but everybody but Jesse and Maxine were dying laughing because they were so shocked at what happened. We had to stop the session after that because nobody could stop laughing. I mean, it has just been one of those epic memories to me. But let me ask y'all, I got 2 more questions for y'all, then we'll close out this panel.
Hey, actually, Richard, we have a really interesting question in chat. Could I read it if you don't mind?
Yeah, I do mind, but no, go ahead. Okay. Go ahead.
Let's see this from Beyond Binary Thinking. Tough question. How to get the balance right between creating an inclusive community, diverse community, and creating a safe community. When to call people out that need learning and are saying the wrong thing. So actually, that's a really good question because I think we've all had that happen.
thankfully, Knights of the Braille has not had anything like that while I've been a part of it.
Yeah, but I've only been here like a couple weeks. So.
Yeah, and I've been.
Let me stop you. There was at one point. There was actually a conversation that a lot of us felt was going in a really weird direction. And I think the turning point for that. I mean, I know I talked to Jim about it. I'm sure he talked to you as well. I think the turning point for that was probably when it. Honestly, I feel like it's distasteful enough that I would rather not talk about it directly. But when it started to be personal and almost personal and dehumanizing, if that makes sense.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Is that how you feel?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I feel like when you get into a situation like that, when people are being treated somehow as lesser, you hit the brakes and you do whatever you got to do. Because, well, frankly, there's you can't tolerate intolerance indefinitely, right?
But I mean, I think it would be fair to say, obviously, if you have a problem, I mean, because I know the question is kind of like, how do you do it without alienating the person? For me, I've had to kind of pull people aside privately and just be like, hey, listen, this isn't okay. But I mean, I think we could probably all agree that the dog pile mentality of everyone publicly shaming them is definitely not okay.
That's something that we won't do.
Right.
Jim or myself will talk to them privately, or if they're having a problem with a game master, then the game master will talk to them privately. And if this is the case that I'm thinking about that we're talking about, the person wound up leaving anyway. I know I've had a problem.
It is a question though, because I mean, it's like when you have a community, sometimes you have people that don't understand or maybe don't quite get the same social aspects as others. So you do have to kind of sometimes sit down and talk to them and be like, listen, this conduct isn't okay. I've written out a good set of rules of like, as long as you follow these rules, like everything's cool. And so I find having a good set of conduct is okay. I forgot your name, but the person that does the suicide awareness, is this something that you? Yeah, I'm sorry. What was it again?
Fenway.
You know what? I am so bad with names. I mean, I'm a lot worse with face. How have you dealt with that? I'm sure it's something you may have had to deal with at some point.
It definitely is something that I've had to deal with. Not specifically like in Discord, but more on Twitter and like general social media. But I think that definitely, well, it depends on the situation, because if the person is just being curious and isn't being outright, trying to be hurtful or is harming in the situation, I think, just a general education post with, being just kind of like directing it at everyone. This is kind of how we would deal with the situation. This is the language we use. Like, I understand you weren't trying to be, mean or hurtful or harmful or anything like that, but if you could please avoid using this language in the future, I think is definitely a way to avoid that and deal with it. But I agree, if someone is being outright, harmful, hurtful, degrading, dehumanizing, anything like that, it's important to take them inside and be like, we can't talk this way. This isn't something that's appropriate for this community or really any community in general. And if it continues, then this is X punishment or X way. This is the way that we will have to deal with it.
See, where I come from, we call it a bully. I'm not sure if that's a term we're supposed to use anymore, but I'm from the South, and that's the term that we use. But I know we're getting close to the cutoff time, and I told y'all I had really tough questions. I tried to make them fairly easy, but I do have one more question for each of you. It's a really tough one. I like to have fun, but this is very serious. Is everybody ready for it?
Hit me.
Hit us with it.
If everything tastes like chicken, what does chicken taste like?
Everything.
I'm allergic to meat, so I'm not the person to ask that question.
Chocolate.
Is out. Chocolate. Good answer.
Because you can't have no chocolate in the world.
Oh, that's good.
Fair.
If you can only have one flavor, that's a pretty good one. Absolutely.
Or coffee.
Exactly. But on behalf of Knights of the Braille and everyone games, we're going to go around and do the whole exit loop, tell everybody how you can be found and followed. And I do want to thank you all for stopping by. I'll close us out in the panel. We'll start out with Phil, and then we'll end up with Liam, if that's okay. So we'll go Phil, Danny. Well, I want to say the best for last, but we'll do Phil, Danny, Mouse, Fenway, and then Liam, if that's all right.
Sure.
All right. And we got to do you too. But do you want to go first? You go first.
I reckon I can go first. I am Richard Bennett, Bean. You can find me on Facebook as Richard Bennett, on Twitter, Richard Bean 7483, I think is what it is. I don't know. I don't get on Twitter a whole lot. I'm out here as Bean 7483 #1561. You can call me pretty much anything you want to. Just don't call me late for dinner. You can find me, Knights of the Braille. Get in touch with me there. And now we'll go with Phil.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So I go by mostly Blind Gamer in a lot of places. You can find me on Twitter at Blind Mostly. That's me. I don't have anything to plug except that stick around for everyone games, and let's all be an awesome family together, right?
That's right. I'll be the redheaded stepchild. Danny, even though I'm bald, we'll go with Danny.
Oh my gosh. I'm Danny Marie, AUC, almost everywhere. Twitch, for sure. Twitter, I'm really heavily on Twitter. I'm right here on Discord as well. But you guys can, mostly those two places you can find me if you're more interested in resources and things like that about albinism and visual impairment. You can check out albinismupclose.com. It's also got all my socials on there as well. So if you have trouble finding anything, that's a good place to find me. Come hang out on Twitch. Come watch us play D&D in a minute.
Yes, do that.
And I promise I will not forget you this time, Mouse.
I am at twitch.tv/Mousella. I'm also on Twitter at Mousella_. And in my bio there, to make it easy, I have a flow page link with all the rest of my socials. Danny and I also have a Discord server together called Ladies Alliance of Gamers, but you do not to be a lady or identify as a lady to join. We just really wanted to call it LAG because we thought it was funny. So we're there. It's a very inclusive, really cool server. We're doing some really fun events over there. And if you would like to get an invite to that server, I'm going to be live on Twitch at about 4:30 today Pacific time. So I don't know what time it is right now, but here coming up real soon. I will be live over on Twitch, so if you can and you want to, pop over, say hi in the charity stream, raising money for Able Gamers and Special Effect, and come get an invite to the Discord server if you'd like.
Notice everybody, she did not invite Redneck, so that excludes me and everybody else from the South.
Listen, I lived in North Carolina for 3 years. The rednecks are always welcome.
We're there. We're already
that
there. What are you talking about?
that makes y'all Yankees. And Fenway.
Hi everyone, I am Fenway Jones, also known as Fenway the Teen DM on Twitter and at Jasper's Game Day on all of the social medias. On my personal Twitter, Fenway the Teen DM, I do have a link tree with all of my YouTube, all of my other social media, those sorts of things. And you can find me anywhere that any social medias that have Jasper's Game Day on them, and our website is jaspersgameday.com.
I love that. You can find me on any of them social medias. That is what I'm talking about. I love to pick at people. And what's that other guy? Mel. How about you, Mel? No, that's your twin.
That's my name backwards. I won't do it in the radio voice. So I am on Twitter at Liam Irvin, LiamErven. And I'm also on YouTube at Liam Irvin. I'm pretty much everything on Liam Irvin. Discord is Liam Irvin #5426, which is just Liam spelled out on a telephone keypad. I do want to say one thing though, really quick, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to Everyone Games. Don't forget that we've got like a lot of awesome tabletop stuff coming up and more panels. Please stay tuned to that. Tomorrow there will be even more cool stuff. Somebody wants to hear Danny play guitar. Danny, you have to work on that.
Can
there you
we
go.
please?
Yes. But tomorrow I'm playing in Blind Dungeon, which looks like a lot of fun. Tomorrow I will actually be on YouTube doing some Alexa games. So we'll be doing games that you control completely with your voice. So I cannot wait to share those with you guys. One of them is a Alexa version of Starfinder, and that's going to be fun.
Excellent. Thank you all, and appreciate you showing up, and continue listening to the stream, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.